I got the question about how do you figure out how much a laundromat's worth? I have 3 ways to tell.
Hear that? That's the sound of money. You wanna know what the sound of money is? That's it. Ching, 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 ching. Ching, 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 ching.
Come on. Figured I'd make a video real quick. Got a couple questions about how you figure out how much a laundromat is worth. So I'm taking my little dog. If you didn't know, I have a dog. Down to the barn real quick. We're gonna let the ducks out for the day. There goes Sadie. That's her name. Havanese. You wanna say hi to the camera, Sadie? Come on. What's up, Sadie? You gotta let him out. You gotta let him out. You gotta go this way. You put the door up. Come on, Sadie. This way. Nope, this way. This way. There's the ducks. They don't like the dog. Dog likes to chase them. Don't ya? Don't ya? Yeah, you're not chasing them, Sadie. There we go. There's the rest of them. No, we're not going to chase them, Sadie. Come on. This way. She gets a kick out of going to the barn. The 3 ways that I could tell how much a laundromat is worth, how much water it uses is number 1. Number 2 is the bank statements by the previous owner if they have it set up as a separate business. Another good way, along with the bank statement, is tax returns. How to figure out how much this laundromat's going to make, you're going to want to figure out how much water it used. So we're going to use the example of my first laundromat I bought. And I found out it used 60,000 gallons of water a month. Okay? And you're like, well, that's great. Well, what's that mean? That was the average. Now, how do you get this if the owner won't give this to you? How you get it is basically you call the water company. It's not personal information, so most times out of 10, they're going to give it to you because it's not that big a deal. So that's how I got it. I never even asked the original owner. I just called the water company and they told me. So you're probably wondering, well, how does that help you? Well, now what you have to do is look at the laundromat as a whole and you have to see what you have as a makeup of equipment for washers. All I care about right now is washers. Like I said before, dryers don't make any money. They're a convenience for your customer, but they don't make you any money. So you got to figure out what is your worst washer. What is the machine that uses the most water? In this particular laundromat I bought, I had top loaders. They use about 25 to 30 gallons per use by customer. And that's rinse, wash, everything. So I used the high number. I used 30. So I took that 60,000 and divided by 30. And then I came out with a number of 2,000. Now you might wonder, well, what's that 2,000 represent? That 2,000 means that in that month, on average, that laundromat machines turned 2,000 times. Whether one machine turned 2,000 times or a combination of all 30 machines. I think that laundromat had 25 machines when I bought it. So at some point, all 25 of them, somehow, some combination, the big ones, the little ones, whatever, they all turn 2,000 times. Now the way to figure out your income is you take that 2,000 turns times the lowest vend price, which happens to be $2. Real easy math, that comes out to $4,000 a month. Okay, and that's how I figured out how much that laundromat made or didn't make. Now, to get a better number, you can figure out how many 50-pounders you have, how many 20-pounders, how many 30-pounders, how many top loaders, and you can figure out how much water each one uses, and you can find out the mean. You can find out your average across the whole laundromat, which I think at one time I did the math, and this laundromat back when I first bought it, its average was somewhere in the low 20s. So like 20 gallons or 19 gallons, something like that. But I was very concerned when I bought this property because I knew it was run really badly. So I didn't want to use higher numbers and get a price that would give me an idea I was going to make more than I really was. You want to stay away from that. So I always err on the side of caution. So I went with the 30 gallons per top loader with a high number. I went with the $2 VEN price, which is the top loader price at that time. Now, the most expensive machine in that laundromat was only $4, and there was only a couple of them. So it really wouldn't change that average at all. So I knew this number had to be pretty close. Then you're probably wondering, well, how much did it actually make at the end of the day? Well, at the end of the day, you have to take out your electric and gas. You got to take out your water bill. You got to take out your sewer charge. And then you got to take out trash service. And then you got either your rent or your mortgage. Okay, and then whether you have a phone or internet. Sometimes if I have a place that's new and isn't making a whole lot, I may not have those costs. So on this particular laundromat, the electric and gas is averaging about $500 a month. The water's averaging about $200 a month. The sewer's $100. I forgot insurance. That's the other thing. Insurance. The trash is $64. The rent, mortgage. Let's leave that blank for a minute, because I don't rent, I buy my buildings. And the insurance runs about $120 a month when I first started. Let's add all that up. So it comes out to I got about $984 a month without rent or my mortgage. Now this laundromat only cost me $70,000. And it had a rental unit which generated another $400 a month next door for rent. So I think my loan payment when I got done with it was $1,000 minus that $450 if you want to do it that way. That came to that for my mortgage a month. So you take the $550 and you add the $984. So my cost a month at this laundromat was $1,534. And like I said, I found out it was making $4,000. So you minus, say that's $2,000. So this laundromat, just by me running these numbers, was making a pure profit of $2,000. You're saying, well, how close did that get? It was actually spot on. I mean, it was literally spot on. Like, it fluctuated just a few bucks, but I was right there, literally banking $2,000 a month on my first laundromat. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, that isn't a whole lot of money. This particular laundromat is off the beaten path, is in a very small town. This is actually really good for the location it's in. If I would move it to a busier street, a better corner, I would literally make probably double that, maybe even 3 times that. So you want to make sure you got high visibility, you're in a good location, you've got businesses around you that people are coming to that will, like, go to the grocery store while they're doing their laundry, go to the bar while they're doing their laundry, go to the restaurant, whatever. You want other things around. You don't want to be in the worst part of town. You don't want to be off the beaten path. That's basically how I figured it, by using the water. Because a lot of times when you're talking to these owners, they're not going to give you anything. Most of these people do not keep track of their money at all. They pocket a chunk of it. They'll say, well, I put $1,500 in my pocket every month that I don't claim. I'm sorry. If they know they're going to sell these things, they need to claim that, because they're not going to get the money for it. There's a lot of people are not going to pay them based on, well, I don't tell anybody this. I don't record that with the government. Well, that's good. It's not going to come into play when I buy a laundromat. And I know other people that buy laundromats that also say, if it isn't there in black and white, I don't take it into account. So this is how I would go about evaluating the water bill. This is a very good method to figuring it out. So especially when the only thing they'll give you is a profit and loss statement, which is a P&L statement, which I could make one up right now and look like I'm making millions of dollars. I don't like those at all. They're good to start with to give you an idea, but you really need bank statements, tax returns for a couple of years. You don't want back-to-back years. You want a couple of years, a couple different years. People have to save their tax returns for 5 years. So trust me, they're going to have them. I plan on at some point, maybe I'll have to sell my laundromats. I make sure my books are really good because I want to be able to show people this, because I want to get the most money I can for it. So that's the things I would do. So like I said, that's the 3 ways I tell if a laundromat's making money. Tax returns, bank statements, and the water. And if those will actually justify each other, then you got a good deal. If all those are all over the place, there's something wrong. And usually you can tell when you're diving into it. So, because this is a big investment for people. And you don't want to just be running out there, because what's going to happen is there's owners that will lie to you on a lot of things, and they'll pilgrim you. And when they pilgrim you, they basically saw you coming. They're going to make you overpay. You're not going to make any money. You're going to go out of business, and you're stuck holding the bag. You got to be careful. People do it to people all the time. There's people, they just have no conscience, and they don't care. And so you need to be very leery of that. One of the laundromats I own right now, I had a family member try to buy it, and that person that owned it tried to pilgrim them. They knew it was a bad deal, so they walked away. A few years later, I ended up buying it. I bought it for a hell of a lot less because I knew what I was doing. We had bought the other one. We had gone through all this. We knew how to figure out if it was making money or not. So just be very leery of that. I wanted to do this video for you. Just a simple video, show you what I do. That's what I do.